Hello, my name's Alun. My pronouns are he, him, and tonight I'm facilitating the first of what I expect to be a two-part finale for our longish series of Fate of the Quadrant, uh, my fate hack based on Star Trek adventures from Modiphius. Um, I think I'm not going to say any more. We're just going to launch straight into this episode start, and I'm going to ask Lieutenant Koenig, what do we see as our opening scene this time, over which or in which you read a log entry? What do you want the opening shots to be?
I think the opening shots have to be of us like leaving DS9. That's in the background, and us moving towards warping to other Bajoran space. I think we probably see some Bajoran freighters and things in the background. Maybe we get a shot of the wormhole, since that's an easy effect that we've got on record. But I think we're there. I think it's me perhaps moving through the corridors, and I suspect that we're taking some Bajorans to the colony and stuff. But these are not religious people, but these are more settlement people and scientists and things like that. And I'm kind of moving through them, maybe still a little bit like wary given our experience with the hierarch Primarch. Uh, Science Officer's Personal Log, Stardate 48572.4. We are about to arrive at the Bajoran colony of Freehaven to what Captain Prell calls show to the flag. There have been reports of increased Breen privateer activity in the sector since our recent encounter with the Confederacy. I'm still trying to assess my feelings about the Bajorans and about what our role is in the Federation. Visal backed me up on the plan with the space amoeba, but now he has moved on to another ship, and Captain Prell, who I respect, is once more in command. It is my hope that perhaps the previous incident will shake him out of what appears to be, and I say this informally, his lethargy.
And I think that we see you with those Bajorans. It looks like they're getting their stuff together as you're about to drop out of warp at Freehaven. So they're preparing to transfer to the colony. When I think probably there's a call, senior staff to the briefing room. This is the captain speaking, senior staff to the briefing room. And we cut to the briefing room. Who wants to arrive first? Lieutenant Adey, you are acting helm, given the promotion of Lieutenant Basal.
Well, to I think because they're going to be there anyways, because we don't have it, I will temporarily be Tvilic instead, because that's the purpose of the characters, you know.
Yeah, as our acting chief of security. Dr. Sharp, aiming to arrive first or last?
I can be first. I think it's a relatively quiet day in sick bay.
Fine.
Tvilic arrives seconds after Sharp, having fully intended to be there early as possible and looking slightly pissed off that Sharp is there already.
Tvilic desperately hoping to have his acting chief of security post confirmed. Then 733T, what's the captain's call interrupted? What were you doing?
I think the engineering team, we were taking an auxiliary power system offline for servicing. So it's a down tools and report to the ready room.
Fine. And finally, Lieutenant Koenig, we saw you kind of just moving about with those Bajorans and reading that log entry. What's your How do we, the audience, know, apart from what you've said, that you have concerns about Captain Prell?
I think that I'm like checking over things more carefully and kind of pausing before I go in to the ready room. Like I take a deep breath before I go in and compose myself a little, and then go in, kind of keep my mouth perhaps a little tighter than usual.
Better late than never, Koenig. Take a seat. I've just received this from Starfleet, and he adjusts the view screen on the wall, and it says, this message is from Starfleet Command to all ships of the fleet. You should all be aware that there has been a covert Romulan attack on Deep Space Nine. It's not yet clear if this is part of a broader offensive by the Romulans, but you should be at alert for any Romulan activity. Deep Space Nine is an awful long way from Romulan home space. We have yet to determine their motives for this action. Starfleet Command out. And Prell kind of leans back, looks around the table and says, what do we think?
I think we should do a genetic scan of everybody on the ship, sir.
Dr. Sharp, practical?
It would take a lot of time, and would be difficult to sequester everyone until they've been tested. But it's not a bad idea to do, at the very least, key personnel.
Okay.
It's the only way to
Philip,
keep
is
up
this...
I mean, with Lieutenant Vassal leaving, perhaps their agents already left the ship.
Tvillik, is this based on that scare from a couple of years ago when which ship was it? They thought they'd found some bioengineered Romulan spy, or was it more than one? I forget the details. You know, that's years ago, Tvillik.
We can't trust anyone, sir. I mean, apart from you and everyone in this room, of course.
So I can't have been engineered to look this way. I could be a Romulan under the skin. Okay. 733T. You strike me as the least likely to have been engineered to look the way you do. What I'd like you to do is to work with Dr. Sharp to see if you can come up with some practical, low impact way of ensuring that we don't have any Romulan risks aboard, okay?
Of course.
Koenig, I've got nothing I want you to do particularly, just, you know, get on with the job. Tvillik, just wait a moment, would you? Dismissed. Tvillik.
Yes, sir.
I know that you have been in the unfortunate position of being my acting chief of security for, what is it now, 8 months?
Yes, sir.
Because your full-time replacement has, for reasons that are obscure to me, failed to catch up with us. Son, stop trying quite so hard.
Understood, sir.
Okay? Just relax.
I just have so much time in the security posting to make up for since I was misassigned to science on the Kintsugi.
Well, time will tell if you were misassigned back into security, won't it? Dismiss.
And as Tvili goes, he goes, I suppose it's possible for all kinds of people to be misassigned to positions that they're not qualified for.
What was that, Lieutenant?
I was just reciting the Andorian prayer of acceptance, sir.
Oh, and I intend to confirm your promotion on the basis that because of Vasal's what I consider to be rash judgment to confine me to sickbay, you found yourself holding the captain's chair. Reading the logs, you did a perfectly serviceable job, and you are due a promotion. Congratulations, Lieutenant. Now get out.
Yeah, a confused looking Tvili leaves the ship, holding. I think maybe like he just throws the pip at him, right? Like Tvili catches it out of the air.
73T, Dr. Sharp. What do we see of you? Where are you? Is this in engineering or in sickbay or in one of the science labs? Where do we see this conversation going on, Dr. Sharp?
Think in sickbay, if only because Sharp would try to bring it there where he would be more comfortable now that he has to work with 733T. And I think he's not looking directly at her, like he's busying himself with the consoles and equipment and that sort of. So I was thinking that you could arrange for a schedule and interface with the security to arrange everything. I can do the testing and yeah, make sure the results are kept secure. Does that sound like a reasonable division of labor?
Oh, you are muted, Paul.
Indeed, although it does sound slightly unproductive. Do you not think we should set up some automated scanners surreptitiously round the ship as people pass through them? It can scan them, and then you can sift the data.
We could do that. I do have some privacy concerns, and it's possible that if the scanners are placed, they could be tampered with if they are detected, which would mean we would still need to do manual scanning.
But people shouldn't know that they're there if we set them up clandestinely.
Assuming neither you or I has been replaced or anyone else on the among the senior officers or anyone we need to inform that we've placed the scanners and so on and so forth.
You're from a false presumption that I could indeed be corrupted, Doctor. You don't think the Romulans would have purposely put somebody aboard a Borg cube to be turned into a Borg and then return? It seems a long shot.
Well, they are a convoluted people in my experience.
True. But nonetheless, I'm sure Starfleet will defeat them.
Well, hopefully it won't come to defeat so much as.
Surely that is the preferred resolution to any conflict.
Well, I would think that the preferred solution would be peace, coming together, a joining of forces.
If it gets to the stage of conflict, clearly you've gone past that point.
Well, not necessarily. I mean, it could be temporary, and we have many examples from Earth history of former enemies becoming allies. I'm sure. Well, it's different with the Borg, of course, but
Of course, they have no history of former assimilated races becoming allies.
True. They, I don't know how are the Borg big on history in general.
They have a fully documented collective history going back to the time of the first collective consciousness.
Well, I'm sure those records can be fully trusted. Anyway, I do think that we can't make we should avoid making assumptions about who has been converted and not, and just be as thorough as possible.
Of course, I will liaise with security to begin rounding people up.
Well, perhaps don't call it that. We should try to keep this as routine as possible, and of course, we will have to arrange to have me tested first if I am to conduct the tests.
I'll contact Koenig. He's got a strong mind for both medicine and science.
That sounds good. Please do.
Very well, Doctor. I shall inform you when it's all prepared.
Thank you.
Tvilic, what do you do with your news that your promotion has been confirmed? Will?
Sorry, I lost connection. I thought everyone had gone silent for a second, and I just lost connection completely. I think because I suddenly looked back and everyone was looking at me, and I was like, "What?" Yeah. Sorry. What? So what did you say?
So what I'm interested in is what do you do with the news that your acting rank has been confirmed as lieutenant?
He's in the turbo lift, and he looks down at the pip, and yeah, I think he, as it comes up to the bridge, he straightens his shoulders, attaches the pip on, and strides out and takes up the tactical position, and punches up on the screen on the thing, and he says, to all members of security, I want to double patrols throughout the ship. And I'm going to want a full audit of all of the ship's outgoing communications for the last 3 cycles.
Okay, and I think that Lieutenant Adey kind of looks, because she has the con, looks over her shoulder at you and nods at the pip.
No, Adey winks at the pip and goes, "Good job." And she goes, she even like does a salute to Tvilic, and then as she turns back and the other, the extra raises one eyebrow, or she just shakes her head and laughs, like.
73T, you had a couple of options then. I think it was talking to security about rounding people up, and or talking to Koenig about stuff. What's your initial line?
I think let's go and see. Actually, no, I could probably speak with Koenig in quarters. Yeah, so let's do that. Probably just a sort of a shift change or something.
Still sharing?
Well, he's not indicated otherwise. I'm an easy person to bunk with. Koenig, I've spoken with the doctor, and he would like himself tested first, just to rule himself out, so we can then perform some other tests. I was wondering if you could accompany me to sick bay and administer a test to both the doctor and myself.
Absolutely. This seems like a good use of time.
I would argue otherwise.
Yeah, I am certainly with you on that.
Mm.
If DS9 was attacked, clearly it didn't fall, or we've gotten news of that, but it must have been attacked just after we left. We need to be scanning around this area, if they did a long range expedition out this far, they know we were just there. And if they're targeting Federation ships, we're high on that list. They probably, they might be following us through warp, but B, they have to have some backup in the area, and that makes me nervous. And why attack DS9? I mean, they surely couldn't have thought that they would seize control of it. I mean,
logistically, trying to control that from that distance away from Romulan space would be near impossible.
Yeah, there's something else going on here, and I'm not sure what it is. But I'm not a tactician.
No, neither am I. But I will totally agree with you that this seems a waste of ship's time and resources. But the captain had asked for it.
That he did.
Indeed. So shall we say 0900?
Absolutely. I want to go and recalibrate some things with the sciences department, and then I'll head up there.
No problem. I'll see you there. I'll swing by Vassal.
Vassal.
Oh,
has
no,
left.
not Vassal. Tavalic.
Who's on the bridge?
I'll go to the bridge and say, congratulations, Lieutenant. Could I speak to you in the ready room?
Of course, Chief. No problem. Sorry, not Chief. Chief's another guy, another member of the crew. I forget. On the Kintsugi, we always call the head of engineering Chief, but yeah, the Monty, yeah.
No problem. I will make allowances for you.
Thanks. T? 7?
733T.
Just rolls right off the tongue.
It does for me. Yes, I have a matter that cannot be discussed in public.
Of course, of course. Come, let's go to the security office, and I think it's a very small, like,
Cupboard.
tiny little, cupboard basically.
Down on deck 4. Yeah.
Yeah, down on deck 4. We did choose cramped as one of the things for the Monty. So he'll come in, and I think there's a stack of phaser rifles piled up on one of the chairs in there, and he'll grab them all as a bundle and like jump them onto the desk and be like a calibration checks. We had to put it on hold before, and through the security sweeps that the captain wanted. Please take a seat. You sit. I'm not sure if I've ever seen you sit.
I don't require to sit, but I can sit if it makes you feel more at ease.
I imagine 733 as being like slightly taller than she would be before she'd had the Borg.
Indeed.
Everything. So he's like, yes, I think it would make me feel. Yes, of course. If whatever would make you feel comfortable. Yes.
More about you than me.
He remains standing, like at attention. So what's this intelligence that you need to share with the ship's security chief?
It's not intelligence. We need to cycle people through sick bay for a routine gene test. I was wondering if you could organise that so it happens in set up a method so people are cycled through without disrupting ship time.
Yes, I can do that. No problem. I'll assign a couple of men, to the security team to come up with a schedule, and another couple to escort and monitor any crew as they enter and exit the medbay. That would be the key time for any Romulan. We know that would be the key time for any Romulan infiltrators to try and sabotage the ship's system.
Indeed, wise move. Just report to myself or the doctor when you've come up with your plan, and we'll be there waiting for the participants to pass through sickbay.
Of course, 733T, Lieutenant.
No problem at all, Tavalic. I'm sure it will go well, and this could be another good mark against your name. You seem to impress the captain.
I think it's more that Vassal pissed him off, if I'm honest.
Vassal was a good officer. Yes. We will see. It's early days for the captain, but stay on his good side, and I'm sure you'll go far. I shall leave.
So 0900 733T in Keenick?
Yes.
Where's that meeting then?
At the heading to the med bay.
Fine. Walk and talk on the corridor, surely. We don't do a lot of
Absolutely.
that.
So I heard it through the grapevine that Tavilik was promoted.
Indeed, I've just finished speaking to him. The captain promoted him to lieutenant from ensign, based on his sterling performance previously.
I think there's a pause there, and I think there is a brief moment where I touch my lieutenant junior grade pips on my thing. I say, he did an admirable job holding down the ship after the captain passed out, and while we were out handling the situation with the amoeba. So more power to him, I guess.
But you are correct. He did receive a double promotion, which is
I am aware of that. I'm aware of how that would work. Yes. Acutely aware. I will say, since sometimes subtext eludes you, I am a little irritated given how long I have been Lieutenant Junior, and what I thought was pretty excellent work that the four of us did dealing with the space amoeba.
And other crises that the ship has suffered. You have performed admirably, and I have no problems with you at all as a person. Clearly, the captain may think otherwise.
Clearly.
Well, maybe we'll get a cycle of different captains at some stage. We can but hope.
I wouldn't say that necessarily aloud, but fair enough.
Tavilik, how do you organize this? Because you've got kind of hours before you're supposed to arrive at Freehaven. So how are you going to organize this low impact screening of the crew?
I think it's going to be looking at the rotors and like the shift patterns, trying to make sure, beginning with those in key positions. I'm looking at the rotor for gene testing of 732T, for example, and noticing that there is a single 2-hour, 3-hour block where they have put themselves down for a sleep cycle. And then the rest of the time is just block to block of work. So, okay, well, I can't shift 732T around, but and yeah, I think lots of like the Star Trek equivalent of lots of different papers and rotors and spreadsheets all over the place, and perhaps like arguing with some of the security team about like, look, we just need to pull 3 triple shifts each, and then we can do this between all of us, and we'll get through it before we get to the station. Well, some of it.
Does anyone else want a scene before you arrive at Freehaven?
Oh, good.
No, 73T? Fine. So I think probably you're all on the bridge for arrival at Freehaven. As the captain has explained, this is really just to reassure the locals, in the face of increased activity. We fear triggered by Lieutenant Vassal's actions. Okay. Adey, drop out of warp. And as soon as our utility player today, and as you drop out of warp, there is immediately to the op station 733T a hail.
Captain, we're receiving an incoming message.
On screen. And on screen appears, oops, Daisy, there he is. I just need to find him. This is Captain Haskell, commanding the SS Caliber, out of Incaria, carrying colony supplies and tech updates. Frankly, I have better things to do than be kept waiting in orbit. Can you convince the colony director to let me land my cargo and pick up the agricultural surplus I paid for? And on the screen is Captain Haskell. I've added him to the NBC tab. Stunt casting here. Pierce Brosnan playing Captain Haskell because he appeared in the series sister show, Kintsugi.
Retired
Starfleet Captain. Yeah. I think Tavalic has had experience of Captain Haskell. And without waiting for a reply, he rolls on, well, but isn't Georgianne Prell? Fancy bumping into you out here, Prell? And Captain Prell says, I'll take this in my ready room. Find out what you can from the colony, he says to the bridge, and goes off to the ready room to take the rest of the call. What do we do? I'm going to go to ops first as your comms. What do you do with respect to the colony? Paul, 733?
Let's hail them and try and get their side of the story, I think.
This is colony leader Ovora, and I've got a picture of him on the NBC tab as well. What can I do for you?
We've had a complaint leveled against you by a ship in orbit.
Oh, Captain Haskell. No, he's been bothering me all day. I just told him to be patient. We're just dealing with some stuff down here. Right now, can I get back to you? Just hold your horses, okay? Ovara out. What do we do with that piece of information?
Adey will turn and look at 733T and say, I mean, we could offer to help out with whatever the colony, whatever's holding up things with the colony.
We could find out what's holding up things on the colony. Whether they accept our help is a different matter.
It's a little bit awkward on the bridge because when the captain left, he didn't hand the con over to anyone. There is currently no first officer. Keenek, what do we see you doing or thinking at this point?
If I'm aware of this, like 733 or someone has briefed me on it, I mentioned there were Bajoran scientists and some other people who were breathtaking with us. I gesture one of them in and I say, who's your science liaison on planet?
We don't really have a science liaison. I suppose it's
the person you know.
Dr. Gerati.
Okay. And that's a different person than the person that.
Yeah.
And I'll say
also in the NBC tab.
And then I will say, do you have the comms codes for Dr. Gerati?
Yeah, I guess so. What's up? I mean, we're just getting ready to move down to
check in on things. I will I say to him, why don't you hang on just a second here while I hail her, and I will attempt to contact Dr. Gerati.
And I think, believing the call to be coming from her Bajoran colleague, the one she knows, Let's give him a name. Yeah, let's call him Relum Ozok. And she kind of, without looking up, says, "Oh, hi, Relum. Look, I'm really busy right now." She's looking down. She's clearly working on something rather than focusing on the screen.
Dr. Girardi, and I make sure that both of us are in the view screen. Can you please give me a sense of what is happening on the planet? And I say it like we know that there's something going on, and they need to tell us.
Is this command or insight at play?
I think this is more insight.
Okay, insight. Trying the
That's
skills.
if I have to, it is certainly where my strengths lie. So I think I'm just like, let's why don't you tell us? We can all help each other here.
Difficulty is 3.
Okay. Let's see here. So that is a 7 against a 3.
I think on the basis of 7 versus 3, you get the overcome, but I'm going to go further than that.
Okay.
I'm going to give you an aspect for Dr. Girardi.
Okay.
Dr. Girardi is harassed and frightened. But she says, we have a fast developing medical issue in the colony. I'm not yet able to say exactly what it is, but we appear to have people going down with an infection, and it's spreading a little quickly.
And so your quarantine protocols in place, I understand. We have significant medical facilities here on the ship. Can I perhaps, and hopefully it will provide any kind of delay and maybe a bit of assistance, maybe I can liaison you with our chief medical officer and he can quietly assist you, providing processing power and things?
Any help we can get at the moment.
Okay.
I've got colleagues of mine going down ill.
Absolutely. I'm going to keep this channel open. I'm going to walk. We are going to walk down to Dr. Sharp right now. So just hang on one second. And I will say to the Bajoran, and we jog, like kind of head through the corridors, get to the chief medical officer. There's a line of people waiting to be tested. And I say, back to your stations. And I will come in, Dr. Sharp. Here you go. And blah. And I put the pad up on the thing. This is Dr. Girardi. This is Dr. Sharp.
And I think we'll cut that there for the moment, because I'm curious what's going on the bridge with Adey, Thabilic, and 733T. What's going on the bridge?
They will stand up and look at 733T and then look over at Thabilic and then just look in between the two of them and say, number 1, I request permission to join whatever team goes down to the colony. And Thabilic will go, yeah. Wait, who is number 1?
T, what's your reaction to that?
I will actually crack a wry joke and say, clearly it's not me, because I would have ordered a full barrage of photon torpedoes by this stage.
And then Thabilic goes like, you see him square away his uniform and stand up a little straighter. And he just goes, of course, well, as acting second in command of the ship, I think that's a great idea, Adey. It's, we'll really need the Bajorans will need to see that their people have got a place in Starfleet. So by all means, Ensign, you've got the controls, and you see the junior ensign who's training to be the pilot of the ship go like,
let's go back down to sickbay, where Dr. Sharp, you're on with Dr. Girardi.
Doctor, I understand you have some sort of situation.
Yes, I have a fast-moving infection that we're struggling to tie down. It doesn't seem to fit any of my diagnostic records, and I'm just getting a little nervous. I have in a moment to go and talk to the head of our colony just to brief him. Can I send you what I've got? It's not a lot, but anything you can bring to it, I would be so grateful, Doctor.
Please do. I will assist you in any way I can.
So, Tavilik, having taken command of the ship, are you sending an away team down?
Yes, sorry, I thought I was unmuted then. Yes, Tavilik will, finger
Bridge.
paw over the
Koenig
thing.
to bridge.
Yes, Lieutenant Junior Grade Koenig.
The captain is listed as incommunicado at this moment.
Yes.
We have a situation on the planet. We've been able to ascertain that there's some kind of infectious disease going around. I've spoken with the chief medical officer on the planet. Dr. Sharp and I are in consultation with them right now. Quarantine procedures are to be considered in place. We should make sure that no one beams down to the planet from our ship or any others in the area.
Won't we need to send a team down to investigate?
Once we have once we've ascertained the medical situation, we'll assemble a medical staff, obviously, but right now we need to get a grip on the situation before we can send anyone down into a dangerous area.
Understood, Koenig. Keep us posted. We'll maintain our position, and then I'll squint out the view screen.
Yeah, I say, go on.
I'm just going to say, comms, send over a message to Haskell. Tell him that he's to Haskell's ship. Tell him that they're going to have to wait a bit longer. Sorry, Koenig, you had something more?
That's all. That's all, Lieutenant Tutovilik. And then click.
At ease, Koenig. Oh, bridge out. And he looks around.
At ease.
At ease, yes.
Gonna slap your antenna off here in a minute.
And then he's going to go carry on, as though he's trying to do his make it so voice.
Are you sitting in the big chair, Tavilik, at this point?
I think he awkwardly sort of walks around to the big chair and sits down in it and double checks over his shoulder.
Or just stands next to it.
Yeah, awkwardly one shoulder on it,
yeah. Let's go back to the sick bay. Sharp, let's see if you can make anything of, at first glance, really, the data they've thrown up to you. I think, given how little data they've got and how disorganized it is, I think difficulty here is 5. Just to get even a vaguest kind of hint of what's going on here. I think this is the ask action. So let's have you roll versus 5 using your medical expertise.
Let's do that.
Only the red one moved.
Yeah. So I should roll the other one well,
yeah.
Which is terrible. Yeah, well, this is quite difficult either way, but I think I'm going to invoke my youngest CMO in the fleet for a reroll.
Okay, that works for me. Spend a fate point and re-roll them dice.
Now I think both are marked properly. Yeah, that gets me a tie.
You get an answer, but at a minor.
I am there. I said I've been in the
Ooh,
thing.
yeah.
I am collaborating, and I'm actually going to spend the fate point to give you +3.
Ooh, nice.
What does that collaboration look like? You know, is
I-
this
I think
manipulating the
that-
data, or
Yeah, that I'm playing second fiddle. Like Sharp is reading the stuff, and I'm running the processes, and I'm checking over things, and I'm running the readouts, and then I'm throwing the data, that push across to his
Yeah.
pads, and we're doing all of that. There's a
Mhm.
montage
Yeah. And like
fine?
speaking in half
with our heads,
sentences,
like
that sort of thing.
the sweat off of our brow. Time passes.
So you get an answer, and answers to follow up reflecting effect. And you're also going to get a boost with success with style. So the basic answer is that this is the basic answer is what she told you in terms. This is a
Mhm.
very fast moving infection. The population down there is the thick end of 40,000 people. And the curve is running exponential in terms of infection. The doubling time is hours, not days,
Ooh,
as we speak. And then you can ask me 2 more questions,
okay.
or you can put your heads together and either of you can ask me a question, given you're both collaborating on this.
Well, if it's moving that fast, then it probably doesn't require physical contact. So it's either airborne or spreads in some other way. I'm just speculating.
Yeah.
here.
On the other hand, a colony is probably tightly organized, so they're probably working on their own. 40,000. Yeah, no, I think you're right, because 40,000 is still a decent number. I think the thing that we need to know, and that Koenig will say, if you're okay with using one of the questions for this, is given the Romulan attack, given that it happened in the area of Bajoran, we need to know if this is a tailored disease or a naturally occurring one. I think that's question 1, and then from there you can figure out what you want to do for 2.
Yeah, exactly. Does it show signs of being a bioweapon?
It showed none of the combination of symptoms are matching anything in your database.
Well,
Whether that means it's novel or created, I don't think you're in a position to know yet.
yeah. Have they done have they done anything like quarantines or any of that kind of tried any preventative measure?
The sense you get from a very brief briefing note is that that's the conversation they're having. Clearly it was easy to keep Haskell in the sky, but they're now having the conversation about, can we, how would we, without causing a panic.
Yeah.
Given that we couldn't get a determination on the bioweapon question, can I ask a different one?
Yeah.
Do we have the sense that this is a disease that would just affect Bajorans, or do we have a sense based on its, protein manifolds and so on, whether this is something that potentially affects non-Bajorans?
So far, the records show that only the Bajoran majority are showing symptoms. The Cardassian minority appear to be not suffering at this point.
Don't like that.
Let's cut back to the bridge. Any activity on the bridge or anything else you want to be doing? 733T. I'm assuming that an hour or so has passed. Time has passed while the medical and science teams have been having a go at this. So is there a montage that you want that fills that time? Or now that, or are we in the briefing room being briefed? I don't know. What do you want, 733T? Oh, you are muted.
I think you'll see 733T possibly down in the shuttle bay, getting it reloaded for a medical sort of emergency mission.
Fine. Tavalic or Adey? Are they doing anything, or is Tavalic just enjoying leaning on the command chair?
I think you see a brief montage of a brief shot of Tavalic arguing with his security team about how, like, we're now behind schedule. What do you mean, Koenig ordered you out of the mid? They stopped the gene whenever Captain asked me to do. He rubs his hands round his antenna. And then we cut over to Adey, I think, helping 733T load the ship. No matter whether this is Bajorans or not, she's headstrong. She wants to go down there and help her people.
I hear that. And then I think probably we finally cut to the briefing room where the captain arrives looking pale, flustered, distracted. Okay, brief me. And there is blah. I don't think we need the audience to see all of that. Okay. Options. Come on, sharp options.
Well, since we could bring some of the infected up here, but that would risk our Bajoran crew members. We could beam down.
So what we know that this is only Bajorans are susceptible.
No.
We don't know that.
Okay, well they can't come here. They can't come here then. Okay. Next option.
We send a team down, take heavy precautions to avoid infection, and help any way we can.
Okay. I'd ask for volunteers, but I don't have the patience for it. Sharp, form an away team.
Aye, aye.
Who do you well, I mean, there's who do you want on the away team, or who do our players want to play? That is the question I'm going to ask you again at 5 past the hour after we come back from our first commercial break. Yeah? 5 past. See you then.
Awesome.
So the question is, what is the Montgomery's response going to be in terms of what is this away team going to look like? Clearly, Dr. Sharp's a given, unless you actively want somebody else, Anders.
No.
What do we think about Will? What are you thinking?
Adey's definitely insisting on, and I would love to have an argument with Sharp about the lack of rationality behind sending someone who's a member of the species that's confirmed to be infectable by this disease.
Okay, Paul, what are you thinking? 733T or someone else? 733T. Lieutenant J.G. Koenig.
Interesting. Oh, I think the more fun stuff is going to be happening on the planet, and I already kind of committed here. I had thought of doing the ship to planet stuff, but I like the idea of going down.
Fine. We are very much in the groove for the next generation, where the team that away teams together stays together. But in the shuttle, because of the requirement for, well, if nothing else, a quarantinable space, maybe. And so Adey, Sharp, 733T in the co-pilot seat, I'm guessing, and Koenig and Sharp in the back.
I want a scene with Adey, Sharp, and Koenig before we leave.
Fine. I think on the shuttle deck.
I think we say. I look at Lieutenant Sharp, and I will say, so we've discussed, and you can go, but you have to agree that you will follow all orders, medical and quarantine wise. If we stay on the shuttle to keep you protected, you do that. Do you understand, Lieutenant?
I understand I'll stay on the shuttle for as long as I need to. Yes.
No, that's not what I said. And that you have to understand that we cannot risk having you infected.
That sounds like my risk rather than yours, Keenan.
No. I look at Dr. Sharp.
Listen,
Hey,
you'll be able. You need. If I get infected, then you'll know. You'll be able to study me. You'll be able to see how this is transmitted. You'll be able to study a fresh infection from the start, right? Think about all the knowledge you'll gain, Koenig. I know how much you love studying things under,
we will have plenty of subjects to study anyway, and to be very clear about this isn't just a concern about you personally, but about the crew. The crew needs you. The ship needs you. And even if we could, we can't replace you on this short notice if you are needed.
Well, then, it sounds like you guys better do your job. And she smiles at them. Short of the captain himself ordering me off the shuttle, we're going down.
I was going to compel, even if you hadn't self-compelled there. So give yourself a fate point, because you are a headstrong Bajoran pilot who was a refugee. And I mean, the Type 6 shuttle has room for 6 passengers, so I'm guessing that there's probably, as well as Sharp, are the other 3 people also medics? Is this a medical team, or is it split medical and security, or what?
Good question.
I think science and med. I don't think securities are concerned yet, Doctor.
I don't think so.
Tavilik's still worried about the Romulans, so leave his security people to dance around up here.
Yeah, I don't. Sharp does not have any security concerns at this point.
Okay. So Adey as pilot, 73T as co-pilot and ops, 6 passengers. I'm going to suggest 2 scientists and 4 medics. So that's Koenig and an assistant, and Sharp and 3 others. Yeah. Okay. And Adey, you head down the beacon, the homing beacon that you can lock onto is blinking on the colony, and then it goes off. Would you roll, please? Difficulty is 4, to try to work out what's going on.
Sure thing. As I look on Memory Alpha for words in the Bajoran language, it has slightly less than Klingon. Dice room. What was the difficulty again? 4. So I'm at I'm at -3 at the moment.
Okay. What do you want to do with that?
-3. Is that particularly bad? No, anything below 0 is bad, isn't it? There's no scale for how bad it gets. I will re-roll my
At the minute you're on, because you're asking me a question really, so it's no data and the GM says how things get complicated.
Okay, yeah,
Or there's a major narrative cost.
I'll live with that. Or whatever you wish
Yeah.
to choose. All those, yeah.
Okay. It makes no sense at all. But you're getting a choppy comm signal from the colony air traffic control saying from comms just choppy comms.
They bangs a fist against the panel and says, "Carking engineering."
And then 733T, several critical systems go red. What do you do? That's my things that get complicated. Oh, you are muted.
Let's fix them.
Okay. What do we see you doing?
Panels coming up, digging in, sort of wires coming out. Yeah.
You know, everybody's kind of the ship stability is going, because these things do fly like a brick if they don't have their systems running. And that sounds like engineering against, you have no idea what this is, so difficulty is 4.
And I will shout over, Koenig, open that tray there, pull out the mini computer, see if that's performing well, and get that to assist.
I will collaborate.
Difficulty is 4. Koenig, everyone's friend.
+2 on the dice.
And
I have 4 in engineering, so I'm at +6, +7 because of the assistance.
So 7 versus 4, success with 3 is success with style. So, you know, things go into the green. But it was almost like someone tried to take control of the shuttle systems. That's as much as I can tell you at this point, but most of your focus was getting them back. You've managed, you know, you kind of ran a couple of subroutines through the pad rather than through the main system, and that appears to have flushed the problem. And so I think we probably see you coming into land.
But we do have a boost on that.
You do have a boost in relation to that. Was odd. Koenig, what did you make of that?
We have no reports of any phenomena like that before previously with this planet, right?
No, none at all. Apart from that choppy comm signal. And in fact, what you see as you come into land, there are people out on the pad with kind of manual lights, you know, and manual landing emergency processes.
Interesting. Well, then I think that I want to scan, do like a sensor sweep as much as I can to see if I'm picking up other energy signals, if there's Cardassian ships or Romulan ships or any of those kinds of things, signals like that anywhere present.
Okay, so conduct sensor sweep. Overcome 2, I think, +2 for the situation aspect of, you know, you don't really know what you're looking for. You're looking for something suspicious.
Right.
So I think that's difficulty is 4.
Okay.
And the sensors on the type 6 is a 1.
It's a 1. Okay. So that's even. So that's 1.
You're better than that, so you get to add in if you can succeed.
If I succeed. Can I take that boost that we have from that for another +2? And then
that's 3 versus 4.
Let's go ahead and reduce problems to its pieces. I'll spend another fate point. So that'll get us to, we'll beat it by 1, and then I have an additional shifts of effect.
So it was tricky, but you get there in the end. There are all kinds. You're picking up irregular power spikes. You're picking up difficulties with comms, both on planet and off, or from planet up. You're not spotting anything, given you got success with style. You have a boost in hand, but if you wanted to cash, no, there is nothing suspicious, apart from the fact that there are Cardassian language broadcasts on the planet.
Right, let's get those patched through comms and translated.
They appear to be kind of civilian exchanges. You know, you're tapping into what amounts to people communicating in Cardassian, just saying, has your power gone down? And somebody saying, oh no, it's back on, it's okay. So, oh, mine's still out. It appears to be innocent Cardassian chatter. And that's probably when you notice that it is a Cardassian who was signaling you in. A Cardassian civilian.
I say, all right. Let's land this thing.
So Adey, you put it down where they kind of signal you to put it down, in a kind of open space, far enough away from any buildings. It looks like they've put you down at a safe distance from people, to be honest. And you can see a couple of people crossing this open kind of airfield space, this landing pad space towards you. You will recognize them if you were on the bridge as the colony leader, Gilash Ovara, and Dr. Idat Jarati, and a Cardassian. I'll add him now, because I've got him somewhere. And they get kind of within shouting distance. And I've added him to the tab for NPCs. Ovara kind of just says, I'm sorry, our comms have suddenly become a little bit flaky. We're not sure why, but we appreciate any help you can offer. My technical director here, Varek, will act as your liaison if you can do anything with that. And Dr. Jarati and Sharp, you'll recognize her. She recognizes you and she raises her hand to Keenek and you. We're kind of getting hit from all sides at the moment. We're not quite sure what's going on.
I will say, prior to the outbreak of this, or this recent phenomenon, were there any unusual signals, signs, sensor pickups, arrivals, anything like that that might provide us with a sense of like there was something going on?
We've identified nothing, says Technical Director Nemel.
I say, Nemel, would it be okay if our engineering person reviewed your logs to see if they can pick up anything additionally?
That's fine. As far as we know, as long as they're not Bajoran, they should be fine. If they want to come with me.
They're definitely not Bajoran, I say, and I think that's the point at which 733T steps out from behind.
And I think Nemel kind of goes,
greetings. And I'll say, I'll handle the science aspects, but this is Dr. Sharp, who is team leader, and who I have been speaking over inappropriately in my excitement. And I kind of gestured to Dr. Sharp.
Not at all. You have the specific scientific knowledge we need here to look at the deeper causes and whatever factors else are going on here, I will focus on the medical issues and see if we can help you, assist you in getting to the root of whatever this is, and of course, see if we can hopefully find some kind of cure or treatment.
Well, Dr. Girardi says if you want to come with me, Doctor, and bring your team, then we can head to the medical center and you can kind of see where we are already. Where's Adey at this point?
Adey is picking up medical supplies and getting them off the ship. And I think has got maybe like a like a little mask, like a thing on, and she's just going to call out to one of the Cardassians. Where do these need to go?
What's your? You're going to call out the Cardassians, who was a refugee from the Cardassians. Adey, is that a difficult thing for you to do?
No, because they're the ones here, and they're saying it quite like in a surly fashion, like stop holding us up. Where do I need to get the supplies to?
And one of them drives up a little kind of runabout that you can begin to load stuff on the back. I guess the medical team will be helping you, that I think is probably when the colony head Ovara kind of looks and says, Brissa?
Yes.
How old were you when you left Bajor as a refugee?
Oh, like a young girl, like maybe like 7 or 6, something like that, like really the youngest age that you can reliably get a child actor to play and do some scenes in Star Trek.
Okay. Actually, he doesn't say Vrissa. He uses your mother's name.
Rella.
Yeah. And he looks very confused.
Rella was my mother.
Oh. Then you must be Vrissa.
Yeah, do I know you?
I knew your mother. And then he turns away and heads off behind technical director and medical director and Dr. Sharp and Koenig and 733T, leaving you on the pad. What do you want to do on the? Oh no, I'll come back to you. I'll come back to you and see what you
know
want
what I want to do. I want to go and deliver supplies and put myself in harm's way. Right. Yeah, exactly.
Of course you do. Of course you do. So let's go to 733T and technical director Nemec, who is wearing clearly Bajoran ear decorations, and you can just see the slight hint of Bajoran folds at the top of his nose. Just in case you hadn't picked that up from the picture, 733T. So what approach are we taking with him?
I'm going to ask him to direct me to the source of the problem.
Well, if I knew the source of the problem, I'd be able to address it. But he takes you to, the kind of technical hub, because there's always one, where there's, a number of technicians, both Bajoran and Cardassian, and, those of mixed heritage, working, trying to, and there's kind of city grids and planet maps with, areas in red, areas in green, the green and the red are switching. He says, I've no idea what's going on. We're just getting what almost feels like random outages and malfunctions.
I would like to spend some time to create an advantage.
Seems very fair. I'll come back to you for that role when a bit of time has passed. Koenig and Sharp, you accompany Dr. Girardi to the medical center. And Girardi kind of explains that she's the medical director and she's medically trained, but it's been some little while since, she was a frontline doctor, and introduces you to a Cardassian Dr. Korgoyat, who I've also added to the NPC tab, who is actually at the sharp end in terms of, she's treating some people. How does this scene unfold? Let me start with Sharp, then go to Koenig.
Greeting everyone, obviously, and introducing like the team. We don't need to detail it there. I think Sharp is. I think I'm very focused on the medical issue and not really taking in like the. No, actually, that's not true because we had that. I had that incident in the past with the Bajoran and the Cardassian. Yeah, I think it's the other way around. I think I'm very gingerly probing like what the relationship is here between the Bajorans and the Cardassians.
And I think, we probably see you leaning over some charts with Korgoyat, and you're kind of looking at her, and then, there are other medics around the, busy doing their job. And she says, is there a problem, Doctor?
No. I am just pleasantly surprised at seeing Bajorans and Cardassians working so closely together.
Is that so impossible to imagine?
No, it is what we strive for, but it is still unusual, of course, in a positive way.
Because that Cardassia and Bajor signed a peace treaty earlier this month. So that peace has broken out officially. But, the fact that there are people here of mixed heritage suggests this colony has had both populations for some time at least. So it's not to do with that. Not all of us favored the way that the Union developed over the last generation, You shouldn't just assume that all Cardassians are warmongering, terror-focused conquerors.
Of course not. I did not mean to offend.
Were you expecting me to be, undertaking experiments on my patients?
No, absolutely not. I have expressed myself badly. It's an unusual situation for me, but that should not in any way reflect poorly on you. It is merely my own lack of experience with fruitful and peaceful relationships between Bajorans and Cardassians that are so it's something I'm not used to. It should not reflect in any way poorly on you or on the rest of Starfleet, I would hope.
And she one of her brow ridges rises slightly, and she looks at you as if to say, so young, so naive. Can we get on with the job then, Doctor, if that's not going to be a problem for you?
Not at all, please. Show me what you've got, and kind of bending over the data.
Koenig, what are you doing as that's going on here in the medical center? Unless you wanted to go somewhere else.
I think what I'm doing is I've seen what Dr. Sharp needs and wants, and essentially I'm pulling out my Starfleet equipment and I'm looking at what we've got here, and I am working as he's talking to people and getting things set to get everything tuned to what Dr. Sharp needs. Essentially, I would like to create an advantage to essentially lab prep, coordination, getting us hooked up to the ship, all of that stuff.
Fine. I don't think, I think the thing that makes it difficult, it would normally be 2. I think the thing that makes it difficult is this is a system under all kinds of strain. So I think that's what turns it into a difficulty of 4.
Okay.
No, that's harsh. 3.
Oh, no, go ahead and spend that point if you want to make it a 4.
Okay.
So I'm going to roll here.
I've just realized what the time is. That's not a bad idea. I will spend a fate point to
Yeah.
invoke the chaos on the ground.
So I rolled then a total of 9.
That gives you
So
an immense amount of pleasure, I know.
it does, though it's just creating an aspect. So I'm going to go medical lab coordination.
Yeah, and I think that, we'll see you organizing people, saying, no, okay, so what we need to do is just set up this here, that there, and just bringing some order to that chaos.
Getting everything set for Dr. Sharp.
Fine, with 2 free invokes. Adey, what do we see you doing?
The typical Star Trek supporting like non main plotline character of rooting around in the colony and perhaps getting into some sort of trouble or discovering something.
Yeah, well, I think probably, you get on the back of the runabout that's taking these supplies to set up some kind of research annex, equipment annex for Sharp and the others. And the runabout screeches to a stop, and the Cardassian driver leaps out and goes and starts shaking a Bajoran. What do you do?
I leap off the runabout and I go, hey, stop that.
Command?
Yeah, why not?
Okay. I think difficulty here is 3.
Cool.
For reasons I know and you don't.
Cool. Adey has a 2 in command, so not completely offline. What did you say the difficulty was? 2.
3.
3. So 7, 8, -1. I will spend a fate point on Starfleet.
You don't want success at a minor narrative cost.
Yeah, it's just because I have this free invoke on my Starfleet tries peace no matter the odds. But you know what? I will take success at a minor narrative cost because it will escalate the episode.
And the Cardassian, when you say that, turns around, pushes you away. But he does stop shaking the Bajoran. Well, it's got nothing to do with you. Pushes you away.
It's got everything to do with me. What's going on?
I think insight is the name of the game here. And I think, again, difficulty is 3, because I don't think they're going to be secretive about this. In fact, difficulty is 2.
Okay. That is a +2.
Then that is success at discovering an aspect at play here.
Mm-hmm.
They are married. And the Cardassian is saying, what the hell are you doing here? You want to stay as far away from this medical center as you possibly can. Damn it.
And I'm going to say, Look, Cardassian, the only way we survived is by sticking together for our own people. Surely you knew that when you married one of us.
Oh, I think he then lashes out at you. How dare you, wallop?
Yeah.
Let's have you dodge with con. I think his attack is like 2.
Yeah. I beat that with a +2 again.
-2 on the dice.
-2 on the dice, but I have oh no, so we're equal actually, equal.
Okay, so if you could be harmed, you take 1 stress.
Yeah.
And the Bajoran guy gets between the two. He says, "Look, it's," and he says to you, "It's okay, right? It's okay. It's just he's concerned. I'm worried. It's fine. Okay, oh, just it's fine, really."
Look, we need, no matter what happened, I get that you're scared for someone you love, but that was our entire lives under the occupation. That was our entire lives out as being refugees. And here, that's what it's going to be like now. It's a crisis. We're going to need to work together. And I'm sorry, but you're going to have to you're going to have to live with that fear until we can solve whatever's happening here.
It might have been, and he reaches out and takes the other guy's hand and says, "It may have been like that under the occupation. It was never like that here."
Yeah. If I could come up with a pithy line about it's you know what? It's never like that until it is.
And I think probably your welcome on the back of the runabout just ran out. Let's go back to Technical Director Nemec and 733T. You've spent a bit of time. Let's have you create an advantage. I think normally it would be 2, but I think it becomes 4 because, again, you don't really know what you're looking for. You are muted.
I've got 3.
That would be fail, and the GM says how things get complicated, or they may offer success at a major narrative cost.
What, for creating advantage?
Oh, sorry, I'm all over the shop, aren't I? Fail, but the GM says how things get complicated.
No. Create an advantage.
Yeah, I'm down there, aren't I?
Oh, I was reading fail and they get a free invoke on the aspect you're targeting.
Or succeed, but they get a free invoke. Yeah. They, whoever they are.
Yeah, let's go for that.
Okay. I think that it is clear that there is some kind of computer virus at play here. But what's weird, and this, I suppose, is the free invoke on the aspect, it is a virus that you think Borg technology could be susceptible to. Seem like a reasonable, yeah? And they have a free invoke on it. But yeah, it is weird. So so I'm going to rephrase it as computer virus that could infect Borg tech. Yeah. Let's go back to the medical center. Let me start this time with Koenig. So you've done, you've spent a couple of hours getting people organized. It's the level of kind of energy hasn't changed, but the level of chaos has definitely gone down, Koenig, thanks to your best efforts. What do you want to do with this more organized? You are muted.
That's really for Sharp. So I think what
I suppose what I'm asking is Sharp's going to try and do some medical stuff. What, if anything, do you want to do now?
I want to review 732T is looking at the what's going on with the interference and the radio stuff.
Yeah.
So I think what I'm doing is I'm sitting down and I'm going through like doing data analysis on all of the colony records and logs and things like that. I'm just sitting down to see if I can figure out a subject zero, a point of infection, some anomaly of some kind.
So that would sound like create an advantage, patient zero.
I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think there is, again, quite a lot of data going, but you have got that that coordination invoked to play with. So I think difficulty is probably at least probably 5, because this is kind of fundamental.
Okay. So right now I'm at a 4. Let's put our last fate point. I'm kind of really focused on this. So I'm actually kind of letting my obsessions, or actually probably more my reduction of pieces. So I will take it to beat it by a 1 for just a single patient zero advantage.
Fine. So you think you've identified patient zero. So bung that in the chat. So Hugo, Phoenix done a lot of the groundwork while you've been trying to digest the information that the medical staff can provide, and while your colleagues are, picking up pieces of information for you. What do you want to do at this point?
I think I assume, considering the rate of spread, that this outbreak is fairly recent.
Yeah.
So I want to check the patients who have been infected the longest, like see what the progression of symptoms look like, and see if we can get some sort of projection on what is the likely course of continued symptoms. And then based on that, see if there's, what steps we need to take.
Okay. Well, I think that you've got the patient zero advantage working for you. You've got the medical lab coordination going for you. So I think difficulty here, again, it's pretty much working with what you've got. I think difficulty is 6 to come up with an answer of some kind to that. So difficulty is 6, but you have a couple of free invokes to play with, conceivably, if you need them. So let's see what the dice say.
Yeah, and the dice say +4. So I don't need any free invokes. I got an 8.
8 versus 6 is +2. If you did use one of those free invokes, you would have success with style.
Let's do it then. I'll use one of from the coordination, lab coordination.
I mean, I given the question you're asking, I think the patient zero one.
Oh yeah.
That's where you want to go, isn't it?
Yeah.
Then yeah, you can ask me a lot of questions about this. And you are going to have a boost based on what you end up finding out. So you've got an answer to your question, which is prognosis is not great. Patient zero is dead. And that took about 48 hours. When he reported symptoms, you're still working back from symptoms to infection. And the others, if you then begin to try to plot, where it went from him or her, I think that you are looking at a kind of doubling time, hours, not days, but most of a day. You think probably about 15 to 20 hours based on the data you've got. And then you've got one question left to ask me if you want it.
This is probably more about the colony than the infections. Maybe that doesn't fit here, but I am thinking again about possible quarantine protocols. Like, is it possible to not install? What's the word?
Implement.
Yeah, implement some sort of effective quarantine that would not like disrupt the whole workings of the colony. Like it still needs to function.
Okay. I think that yes, there are things you could do, and I would treat that as a create advantage to actually slow down the spread of the infection. Yeah. Because at the moment, hospitals are coping, but they are beginning to reach their limits. So again, that's going to take some time. You know, time will pass. I want to kind of know what Adey's doing now that Adey's been thrown off the back of the runabout, really, and left to her own devices.
She'll go around this makeshift medical area that we arrived at, and she'll start unpacking the boxes. And I think it will be a case of, getting her hands dirty with all of the other colonists and try and get a read on, what has anything strange happened here? Is anyone behaving strangely? The stumble into plot approach. Which is the insight, I imagine.
Well, insight is soft skills with people.
Yeah.
SciMed is working stuff out.
Mm-hmm.
So if you can be a bit more precise about what you're doing, I'd be better placed to know where I'm going.
I think it's more about what people tell her.
Okay.
We've got SciMed and engineering and everything covered with our other three characters. She's taking the Bajoran approach. The
Fine.
human approach.
Yeah, so talking to people, and clearly, lots of the people here are Bajoran medical staff who are, masked and gowned, treating people at great risk to themselves, presumably. And when you arrive in your Starfleet uniform, I think people don't necessarily understand the way the color coding works, so they just assume that you're a medic. And they gown you up and all the rest and kind of get you in at the sharp end. What are you trying to find out? What's gone on that's odd?
Well, yeah, because we had the outbreak, we had the technology failure. The Cardassian comms systems seem to still be working. These people have been here since the beginning. They're not trying to piece it together from whatever, but perhaps they just don't see a bigger picture than I might be able to.
Okay, let's have you roll with insight to see if you can find out something useful. I think difficulty, because they're busy, is 4.
Okay.
No, 3. 4 is cruel.
Okay, well, so 4, 10, 7. So I'm at -3 at the moment. I will use my free invoke on Starfleet tries peace no matter the odds, as I am trying to, not blast my way in or swear to me kind of thing.
Yeah.
That's better. So that is 6. That's 0.
Yeah, I mean, I think that I will. The consensus, the people you talk to, it's kind of it's like it's like the prophets have got something against us. We get hit by this infection, and then comms start going down. What do you mean the Cardassian systems are still working?
Yeah. Does the colony do they have a separate network?
I not really. I mean, when we came here, we brought our technology with us, and I guess some of them are still running off the original systems they brought. And this guy calls over a Cardassian nurse and says, "Are your comms still working?" Matter? And Matter kind of gets a pad and says, yeah, at the moment, yeah. Why? Do you want me to call somebody for you?
Where is
Are
your
yours out?
matter? Was it? Where do your where does the where does your technology? We know where's your comms tower? Where is this connected to?
Well, everything runs out of the original colony ships. You know, we hate talking about it this way, but the Bajorans had a colony here already, and
I'm imagining
those
one
of
of the
us,
Bajorans like puts a reassuring hand on their shoulder as they say that awkwardness, like it's all fine here, kind of stuff,
you know, we all think of ourselves as Havenites now, but then, you know, those of us who were unhappy with what was happening, we looked for a home, and they welcomed us. So you know, some of our stuff still runs through our ships, you know, the colony ship systems. So you know, there's been integration over the years, but yeah. So I guess the ships. I've never really thought to ask the question. And then a beeper goes off. She said, "I need to go."
yeah, and she'll go like, I think I need to scrub off. I'll see you. I'll be right back. And she begins taking off her things, and she's going to go set off towards the Cardassian colony ship.
Are you talking to the rest of the team at this point, the away team, or is this a solo effort at this point?
I
It
mean,
sounds solo.
it's solo, but if I would extend the invitation for anyone to call Adey for an update, and she'll tell them. But it's Star Trek, you tend to just walk off into things rather than inform everybody.
Yeah. So 733T, you've spent a bit of time. You've created this advantage around the virus that's at work. What are you thinking?
Let's try and work out the root cause of their technological problems.
So what is this, the technical equivalent of patient zero?
Yeah, well, I'd like to fix the problem.
Yeah, I think it's early days for that yet, because in my mind's eye, the difficulty of fixing a planet-wide computer virus behaving oddly is probably in the 8 to 10 range.
Well, I got 3 fate points, so I could probably succeed at that.
You want to try it? Let's have a go. Let's have a go then. So difficulty is 10. So rock and roll.
So it's a 50-50 chance. If somebody comes and helps me, then it gives me a
if
+1
only they weren't all busy.
Okay. Let's succeed at a minor narrative cost.
Okay, so the minor narrative cost is that you can stop it, but it is adaptive. So you can buy some time, systems across the planetary comms grid, power supplies, they suddenly stop flashing red and go green. But as you watch it, you can see the virus adapting.
Okay, I will contact everybody else and say, do your stuff now. You have a window of opportunity. The chaos that the systems were causing are now not there.
I'm going to put a boost in the system for some kind of quarantine, because now you have comms enough to actually communicate the need for any kind of quarantine. If that was the objective, yeah. So I think it's almost a kind of command stroke security stroke. It's not a medical problem per se, it's an organizational one. Which one of you do you feel is best placed to solve an organizational problem? Because you're straying into the realms of government at the minute, aren't you, rather than science?
sort of Adey, she knows Cardassians, so she may be
Yeah,
well suited to.
If she's
Yeah.
wandered off somewhere, unless you want to call her back.
Well, I didn't tell everybody that, now's the window of opportunity before this thing adapts and changes.
What are you thinking, Adey? Because it probably is security or science or command or insight, depending on which way you try to manage this. So I need to understand from Koenig and Sharp the approach you're going to take. Not what's happening. There's going to be a quarantine. What's the approach to delivering it?
Here's my suggestion, Hugo. We know that the Cardassians are immune. I say that suggests if there's something, that is adaptive, it wants to protect the Cardassians. That may not be based on the Cardassians themselves. It may be based on what other thing. I think we need to figure out what is the key characteristic of Cardassian immunity and see if we can spoof that in the Bajoran biology.
Just so I'm clear, that sounds like you're looking for a cure. I thought we were talking about how are you going to get a quarantine to slow down the rate of spread?
Oh, okay.
I mean, you can go for the big hit if you want to try it.
No,
I think we have two choices, and this is Sharp talking to Koenig. We can try to get the Bajorans, or what was the name of the colony leader? Is that Ilash?
Ilash Ovara.
Ilash. We can try to get Ovara on board with this and hope that they have enough authority that they can institute a quarantine, or we can try to appeal as Starfleet. I'm inclined to trust Ovara, but I feel uncertain about the political situation.
What do you think, Koenig?
I think that the Bajorans don't trust us in Starfleet. We have to go through local tools. I think that's the only way they're going to respect what we do. They're going to push back unconsciously. I've seen this before. My family encountered it when I was very young. I know how this works. You've seen how Adey interacts here. There's not a great history, and I think that we're not going to change that right now.
Yes, that sounds right to me. Well, let's contact Leader Ovara and see if we can get him on board with it.
Okay.
That, I think, is our second commercial break, and we will come back to a tense conference room conversation between you and the colony leadership while Adey is digging and 733T is thinking about whether you can do something to stop this thing spreading further. Okay? 5 past the hour?
Yeah.
See you then. So I think given where we broke, I think we have to cut back to Koenig and Sharp's meeting with the colony's governing council. 733T, do you want to be in that meeting? Or have you got other plans? Yeah, okay. So the three of you are there. Somebody's going to say, where's Adey? But, unless Adey wants to be there, Adey continues to dig. Okay.
I think maybe yeah, maybe
that's what we said, right?
yeah. If Adey is off doing things, we don't want to draw attention. Like,
yeah. Because to them, she was just a shuttle pilot, though she appears to mean something to our colony leader. So yeah, there's a a handful of Bajorans around the table. At the head of the table is the colony leader, and he's enthusiastically, we're so grateful that you've solved the comms problems. We don't know where that came from. We just assumed somebody must have got ill and pulled the wrong plug at the wrong time. But thank you for putting that right. I'm hoping that you have some good news for me in terms of the infection.
We're not yet at the stage where we have a cure or even an effective treatment, but we do believe that the best course of action at this time is to institute a quarantine.
Quarantine.
We need to prevent the spread.
I
At
mean,
least slow it down.
That's why we kept Captain Haskell off the planet and only asked you down. What do you mean by you mean quarantine people? I mean, we're
Yes.
when people come into the hospital, we try to do our best. What else are you talking about?
I'm talking about people keeping themselves separate as much as possible, as little contact between, particularly people who have not yet developed symptoms should stay away from people who do have symptoms, and so that we can prevent, so that we can slow down the spread as much as possible.
And I'm guessing at this point, Keenik is just pulling stuff up onto the screen, showing what that might mean in concrete terms. I think we need to know how they feel about you, and your point man on this, I think, Dr. Sharp. So I think this is how good's your bedside manner. So this is insight, and I think difficulty might be 6 to do that kind of big measure, but I think it's going to be 4 on the basis that he's really pleased that 733T has solved the tech difficulties. So let's have you roll against 4, Dr. Sharp.
Flat on the dice.
So at the moment, fail or the GM may offer success at a minor narrative cost. I don't think you taking stress works here quite yet.
I have 2 fate points. I'll spend one of those to invoke, I think, fascinated by other cultures. Since we have Bajorans on the ship, I think I've learned a little bit on how to best communicate in a way that they can.
And Keenik is always keen to talk about Bajorans and how well they mesh. So yeah, that turns a draw into success, and you have your quarantine, right? So in terms of stopping this before things get critically terrible for the colony, you have an aspect with an advantage which we'll call something like working quarantine with 1 free invoke. I can't spell quarantine, so or working, it turns out. Gosh. There we go. So the Colony Council agrees to implement the measures that you've suggested. And I think probably we will see some scenes in the city and maybe in some outlying suburbs or farming communities out there. We'll see Colony Leader Ovara on big screens, saying, you will have heard that some people are getting sick. What we need now, important this bit, Keenik, is this aimed at Bajorans or Bajorans and Cardassians?
That's a question for Sharp.
Sharp. Hospital pass.
I think it's aimed at everyone, even though Cardassians aren't developing symptoms. We don't know if they're immune or if they just don't develop symptoms. So this, and plus we have the people of shared heritage, so we don't know for sure.
Fine. We need, as much as possible, if you're not in a critical job, and your managers will be in touch with you shortly to tell you whether your role in the colony is critical at this point. Our strong advice is that you go home, stay with your family, just to give us a chance to get on top of this thing. And he handles it pretty well. You have a working quarantine in place, and we see people kind of, okay, and heading off home. And Adey, I guess that's the segue to you, where we see you working your way through the colony, and people are disappearing off the streets, and maybe you pass underneath one of these big screens in which the colony leader is making his pitch. So where exactly are you heading, Adey?
There's a Cardassian ship that still that seems to be unaffected by this technology. That's odd. If whatever this effect is, it's not affecting Cardassian, so there must be something different about the Cardassian technology. So yeah.
So I think we'll see, just that foreshadowing. We see this colony ship. It's got that obvious kind of Cardassian shape, though it's not one of their typical kind of cruisers, but it's got that Cardassian-y shape, just emerging as you're approaching through the streets. 733T, are you going to tell the colony leaders that your fix is temporary, or are you going to let them just roll on the sense that this is solved?
No, I'm happy to inform them that it's an evolving computer virus. The fix is only temporary. It will return in time.
But so I mean, how big a window have we got?
As long as it takes for the virus to adapt and overcome the defenses that I'll put in play. Okay.
And I guess technical director Namel is there, and he says, I'm sorry, Ovara, Gilesh, I hadn't understood that this was a temporary fix.
Act now while your systems are working.
Yeah, okay.
It will get worse.
And the energy in the room, which was all kind of whoa, it's now kind of Sharp. What's the next step in terms of you and the medical team? You bought yourself a window of time.
Yeah.
Now,
Well,
obviously, I don't expect you to have medical knowledge to play with.
No.
I think I will come in. I will say, I think we need to explore the Cardassian dimension to this. As I said earlier, before we started doing the quarantine protocols, there is something that is keeping them safe. The computer virus is adaptive. This virus is strange. We need to see if we can figure out some kind of, even if it's a temporary measure, some kind of system that makes this virus read people as Cardassian, even if it's only a short-term solution.
That sounds like an excellent line of inquiry. I think we also need to try to isolate the pathogen itself, to see if it is actually present in Cardassians, or and they just don't develop symptoms, at least not yet, or if they are actually immune and their bodies don't.
Absolutely. I think that's all part of the process of figuring out why it's not affecting them.
Yes. feel like we're kind of looking at two different things. One is like figuring out the disease itself, and one is trying to spoof it, as Lowell said. But I'm not sure if this is like mechanically how we handle this. If it's one
Right,
thing,
well,
or if we're doing two different.
I have a suggestion. If you have a look at the ship's log tab, I've set up a couple of clocks. One to isolate and understand the vector, and then one to exploit its characteristics.
Ooh.
If you can understand the nature of the beast in a 6-section clock, that will put you in a place where you can then have a 4-section clock to actually exploit its characteristics in some imaginative and creative way. Does that kind of make logical sense?
Yes.
And
I would like to get an opportunity here somewhere to use my positive reinforcement stunt, because I keep forgetting I have it, and when I remember it, it's too late to use it. And I think this could be an opportunity.
So I think that the way to play this is probably with this group of the council, or are you looking to, because I'm prepared to apply it to the infrastructure, the human infrastructure of the colony's government, if that would be helpful. Or
cool.
Are you interested in focusing that on one of the crew?
I was thinking of Keenick, actually.
Fine.
That'd be great.
I know you have a lot of knowledge that you can bring to bear here. I will be focusing on the purely medical side to try to isolate the pathogen, find some sort of treatment. I need you to focus on the wider biological question here. And I have full confidence in your abilities. I know that we can together we can solve this.
My insight is a 1. That's the lower of the two. So that's what you can challenge to get that bonus.
Yeah. So I'm rolling.
Keenick's a pushover when it comes to people being nice to him.
Yeah, I get a +1 on the dice, so that works.
So thanks, Doc, is in play for Rusu Keenick in a scene of his choice. I mean, it says in the current scene, but I don't think that makes any sense at all, unless he wanted to be. I do want to come.
Oh, go on.
Well, I'm conscious of where the clock is, and we need to somehow resolve Adey because we know Will isn't here next time.
Right.
Yeah.
So we should start with that. Absolutely. And
if that's okay. If that's okay. So Adey, Cardassian ship, old, rusted, settled, built around, built on, the colony absorbed it in effect.
Yeah.
I mean, for reasons of kind of the way this colony was set up to function, next to it is the major Bajoran colony ship from maybe 5 or 10 years before it. So yeah, but there is the ship.
Well, obviously, Adey is going to snoop around it, and cinematically probably using pops a tricorder out, peering around at things. But generally, I think it's about having a real snoop. Like finding the working technology, having a look inside the ship. So we probably just view the ship and then inside, right, rather than
Fine. Let's I think this is probably security to snoop.
Cool.
Yeah. So it's a big ship. and it's not well traveled. You know, it looks abandoned.
Yeah, yeah.
So I think difficulty here is only 2.
Cool. Oh, I got a 6 and a 1 on the die. No, it went weird. Hang on.
That's +2 on the dice.
3 and a 1.
No, I lost connection.
Oh,
It was 3 and a 1. Cool. Okay. Yeah. So that's a +2 already, and I have a 1 in security, so that's a +1 overall.
okay, that's good enough, isn't it? So
Yeah.
I'm going to give you some information, and you ask me another question.
Okay.
You are finding a non-Cardassian power source. Okay.
Non-Cardassian power source.
And my guess is that that's where you're interested in seeing what's there.
Yes, yes, of course, yeah. Are there any people on board the
You haven't come across anyone yet, unless you've got a question to ask me based simply on your snooping. So you can encounter people if you want to. I thought you would want to stay kind of on the snoopy side of that for a little while.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I'm making my way towards. This is strange. This isn't a. Wait a minute, that's not a Cardassian power signal.
Exactly so.
The flashes up and I head towards it. And I will actually. Can I spend a fate point to turn that into a boost of some kind and have a.
You
You know,
can certainly turn that in to get more answers and to get a boost if
Yeah.
you act on them.
Well,
Yeah?
I will. I will do that. I will spend headstrong Bajoran pilot who was a refugee, because I think that as a Bajoran refugee, I have some familiarity with Cardassian technology and ships and layouts and stuff. So I will. I probably spend a lot of time on ships. So I'll spend a fate points for that.
Fine. Then I will tell you something else for free, and then you've still got 2 questions.
Yeah.
The other is that you recognize that power profile. It's Polaron based.
The
You
Dominion.
came across some time ago.
Yeah.
With our Pac-led friends.
Yeah. It's all connected.
And with the Gem Hadar.
Yeah. For a boost, I don't think I have any more questions until I get eyes on. I think this is basically enough for what I'd like is the boost to perhaps be like a scan like tricorder scans, and yeah,
something to work with.
And
then let me cut back to 733T and ask the question: what is it that you want to be doing to begin to erode those clocks to solve the virus one round, unless you want to just buy some more time?
No, I think I'm quite well suited to assist people with roles.
Okay.
Because I have one in at least every stat. So I think I'm well suited to lend a hand.
So do you want to be working with Sharp on isolating it, or with Keenek later on trying to solve it? I think the logic is you have to fill one clock before the other. I'm sorry, I'm rambling. So let's see then. Is it Keenek or Sharp who takes the lead on trying to isolate and understand the vector? Because it's as much science as medicine. It could go either way.
I think that's mine.
Dr. Sharp. So let's see you having a go at this then. I think the difficult, because it's odd. It's not, you're not familiar with it. It's behaving peculiarly. So I think the core difficulty here is 6. Because I'm going to spend a couple of fate points to make it 6.
Mm-hmm.
There we go. So difficulty is 6.
Rolling. I'm going to re-roll that with my last fate point. And I think I'm using in a crisis, a good ship works like an ER because we have the medical team and all of that here.
Yeah.
So I made a critical error that someone else caught.
Yeah. And is 733T and Koenig providing teamwork support here? Yeah. Okay. So
Yeah.
you've got 2 to play with, an extra 2. So you know, it's that you're still going to re-roll that dice, I think, at -5. So
yeah. I'm re-rolling and better. That's a -1 on the dice, which puts me at a 3 plus 2, right? So I'm at 5.
versus 6. So close.
Yeah. Can I spend stress?
I think you can now. Yeah. I think you can spread that stress around you, if you like, across the 3 of you, because this is now, you know, sweaty foreheads and you know, intense lights and clocks ticking in the background.
Yeah.
So yeah, spend some stress. How
How
much?
Well, if I spend 1, then we're tied.
Yeah.
I'll spend 1.
Cool.
Success.
I think
That's
Do
1 segment on the clock.
1 segment. Oof. Is there an aspect we can use?
Yeah, you can use the medical lab coordination, spend 1 of those too.
Oh, yeah. Let's do that.
3 on the clock.
I think we'll stop there. We may need.
You have a working quarantine, which you know gives you, that gives you rather more time to take some of the pressure off. That gets you to 5 segments on the clock.
Then I'll spend 1 more stress.
Or if you have a fate point, you could invoke patient 0.
I don't.
Okay. So 6. So I will mark 6 off the clock. Which is all of it. My goodness me, that's remarkable.
Yeah.
Well done. You isolate it to try to understand it, and it is not entirely biological. There, as well as bits of DNA that are targeting the Bajoran genome, the adaptiveness of it that is going to make it more difficult to stop is because there are bits of Borg nanite bound to it, capable of adjusting that DNA on the fly. Let's cut back to Adey. We're on that news. Adey, you're following the signal, trying to locate the Polaron source, and you see it's in that room over there, right? It's behind those doors. What do you do? And remember, you have 2 questions left. You can ask me a few.
Is there another way in?
There's almost certainly the Cardassian alternative to Jeffrey's tubes.
Of course, yeah. So you see Adey pop a hatch, probably one that's like caked in.
Hang on. I want to make use of Starship Expert. You have an encyclopedic knowledge of starship form and functions, meaning you can use con instead of engineering to notice or investigate the form, function, or weaknesses of any starship you encounter.
Yes. Wow. I'd forgotten I had that. Yeah.
So how does that play into this? Because it would be nice to see it play into this.
Yeah. I will. She'll look at the door. She'll look down the corridors, and then she'll go like, on the XR4 freeze. If this is the right chamber, and we're on the port side, there, and she'll tuck her tricorder in a belt, wrap her hand like against the wall, and then this hatch will pop out, and then she'll pull it and then clamp into the wall basically as she goes.
Let's have you roll with con to get sight of what's on the other side of that door from a point of advantage. Yeah.
Mhm.
So not mechanical advantage, just somewhere where you can see but not be seen. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think difficulty is only going to be 3.
Cool. Well, I'd be there with a +1.
Fine. And I think we might close out on this. Because we need to create an exit for a day, but we also need to leave this on a cliffhanger. And I think as we see you approach this grill, you see a figure in this room manipulating this Polaron energy source. And the thing that's very noticeable as they're leaning over is they have a Bajoran ear decoration.
Mm.
Yeah. And then somebody stuns you from behind.
Yeah. Cool.
Nice.
Yeah. So we have a MacGuffin in a missing a day, and we, the audience, know that there's something tricky going on. Okay. I can't think of 2 better
Sure.
cliffhangers to leave us on than that one, folks.
Huh.
So we'll come back after that one.
I've recorded Thanks Doc at 1, working quarantine at 1, and medical lab coordination is 1 on my list of
and the joy
aspects.
of using the same link is that the chat is conserved.
Yes, that's neat.
In technology, wonderful. In computing, brilliant. So let's have a quick stars and wishes, if that's okay. Let's start. I'll come to you last, Will, I think, as a kind of climactic point. Paul, any stars, any wishes?
I don't think it's the right stage to put any wishes in, really. Let's just continue with the current path. Yeah, I like the initial RP scenes that I think everybody dived in, and I like Will's sort of approach to sort of suspend his main character and jump in with another QC. Really good, like it. Yep, mega.
Anders, any stars, any wishes?
Yeah, stars. A lot of fun to do this kind of situation where there's less action but more mystery and shocking revelations. Yeah, a lot of fun.
Anything you'd like in our finale?
No, I'm happy where we're going.
Okay. Lowell, any stars, any wishes?
I'm always glad to have medical crisis. I think that's such a classic. Like, that's very much Star Trek for me. I like, we've got the different twists on the different species and cultural things. I enjoy that immensely. I really like the RP moments at the start, as Paul mentioned, being able to do that stuff with the captain. Who I think there's a bit of Koenig that's going, I need to go through command track, and I need to like get on a science vessel, and I like getting like this is we need to be doing something different. So I enjoyed all those bits, and yeah, we'll say I don't think I have any wishes particularly, just because of where things are going. It's all good.
Okay, great. My stars, because I'm going to come to you last. A point of honor was, yes, I thought the RP scenes were great. I was pleased people took advantage of them. I quite enjoy playing Captain Prell now, because he really is a miserable sod.
Yes.
But in a different way to Latal. Well, I think so. And I enjoyed the problem-solving nature that you brought to this. And as Paul said, if this was left to me, we just put a full spread of foot and torpedoes down there. So I quite enjoyed the step by step. So that's me done. Will, any stars, any wishes that you would like to see?
Well, yes, yeah. Letting me play two quick characters for as long until the narrative resolved on one of them. You know, I do like. I like having the supporting characters because it makes me feel as though the ship's bigger than the main cast. You know, and you know, Bajorans. It makes sense to take down the Bajoran crew member, right? So that was definitely going to be the answer there. And yeah, I like all of this setup for the payoff from the Dominions. Clearly, you know, Cold War operations, supplying third parties with their technology, and the twist that it's going to be one of the Bajorans. I think if I had a wish, it would be that the mystery deepens as Adey is now sick, you know, infected, not able to communicate, and therefore not missing and must be looked for, but you know, returned back to be just an unconscious person, to be revived and speak a truth at an opportune moment or whatever, you know, be a plot device basically for the next bit.
Yeah, great minds think alike. That is exactly what I want to do. Introduce Adey as a MacGuffin, in effect. I think that's a great suggestion. Thank you. Okay, I'm going to stop the recording. Oh, let me ask first, are we okay with me posting this?
Yes.
Thank you very much. I will stop recording. Let's say bye-bye to the internet.